Hey everybody, how's it going? So we got Adam Steele back on the show. How's it going, Adam?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about my course, Total Heavy Guitar. It's been out for the last month or two, and we've got a sale going on right now for $97. It's going to be on sale this week and this week only, and then it goes back up to the regular price of $197. Adam had some questions about it, and I thought it'd be an easier way to talk about it instead of me just trying to, shill it to you guys. Hey, buy my course, buy my course. Well,
This is where I go. Buy Glenn's course. Buy Glenn's course. So the first question that I wanted to ask, I mean, obviously I've been doing this for a while, but if you're just starting out with guitar recording, what are your top 3 microphones?
SM57 for sure. The Lewitt Tom mic, I can never remember the damn titles of them, but I do take a look at the Lewitt Tom mic in the chorus. Now, one of my reasons it's one of my favorite mics is because it's a great blender mic. One of the things I teach in the course is how to take a cheap mixer board like an old Behringer or something like that with 2 channels and blend a 57 and a cheap Tom mic and get an amazing tone. I mean, I was taught that by Cameron Webb and Ulrich Wild, who are both students of Terry Date, who did all the Pantera stuff. And one of the reasons Dimebag had that guitar sound is because he recorded his guitars on a cheap Mackie mixer. And I heard the whole story about how they did Trendkill. And they couldn't get the tone right until Daryl ran home and got this shitty Mackie 4-channel fucking mixer and hooked it up. I'm like, okay, there we go. Because it's the easiest thing ever. And I've covered this before about it on the show, and I go in a lot more in depth in Total Heavy Guitar about that whole thing. My third favorite, and this is just brand new, is the Austrian Audio Oc 818 mic. And that is basically the new AKG C414. And for all you guys just going, what the hell is he talking about? It's an awesome mic. It's not cheap. It's about $1,000. It's got variable polar patterns, but the amazing thing is you can do variable polar patterns after you've recorded something. And this is really important for dialing in guitar sounds, to getting things to sit just right. And Adam's heard what this thing sounds like.
Yeah, so Glenn sent me a little clip that went out on the channel a few days ago, and I was just there like, this is really good. I mean, this must have taken some time to EQ. That's nice. And then Glenn says, no, it's straight up off the board. And I'm like, right, okay. Here we go.
Yeah, that was just, there's a little EQing going on, just a little bit of high pass filtering, low pass filtering, that kind of stuff. But the big thing is done by using the different polar patterns on different frequency spectrums. Like the mid-range is getting treated differently than the top end. And that's one thing I'm going to do with Total Heavy Guitar. And I'm stealing the idea from Scott from Chernobyl Studios, who's doing guitar tone mastering, not to be confused with Total Heavy Guitar. I'm going to do free updates for life on this thing. So I'm going to have a whole module on working with, condenser mics and changing polar patterns and all that kind of thing. I think that's really important.
Awesome. So once you've got your microphones sorted, is there a specific, do you do 3 dB at this frequency? And, do you go into real specifics and basically go, here's a cheat sheet, this dB here will fix this problem? Or is it more broad and theory?
Well, actually, what I teach before anything else about EQ or multiband compression or anything like that is about placement and technique. I've got a system for how to find the best sounding speaker on your 4x12, that kind of thing. Because even though you've got 4 speakers that are all the same, they're not going to all sound the same because there's going to be variations. How do we determine which one's which? If you've got several 57s, how do you determine which one to use? And we use a lot of reamping, I got the angry reamp over here. So it's basically run the same signal back through your amp numerous times until you work through a process of elimination, finding what sounds the best, and then you start to build your tone once you've determined what's going to give you the absolute best source possible. Once you determine, which speaker, which mic, then you work on mic technique. How far should the mic be back from the cabinet as opposed to right up? Where should it be in relation to the cone versus the dust cap, that kind of thing. And this is all a system I work with. And I don't tell you, okay, this is what you need to do here. This is what you need to do here. I show you guys examples of what's going on and show you guys what to listen for. Is it too bright this way? Is it too dark this way? And you have to find what you're looking for, not what I'm looking for. That's the important bit. You need to work through this, and I show you I give you the tools and show you what to do to work through your own solution.
Definitely a good thing, and I think I'll be going back and watching this course myself because there's probably something I've missed. Always is. You can always learn something.
Yeah, and this is just from me doing endless amounts of reamping over the years. I mean, like, I've just got stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of notes of stuff I've done over the years, tweaking amp settings, taking notes. And then, I've compressed all this down to basically a 4-hour lesson. It's like, okay, I've done all the really heavy lifting here. Here's what to look for. Here's how to look for it. That kind of thing.
And it's definitely worth knowing those things, because otherwise... a personal kind of note is that I used to record guitar tones that I thought sounded great, and then later on come to them and be fighting trying to get something usable out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, you learn after a long time, I should really have been doing this, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. I don't know how many times, especially in my early days, where I'd mic up a cabinet and we'd get some amazing tracks, and I'm like, this sounds great. This sounds great. And I come back the next morning and absolutely hate it. So I've gone through the whole process and made pretty much every single mistake imaginable, so you don't have to.
Yes, I'm sure at some point we've all made those mistakes. Talking of mistakes, here's a good question for you. How much gain is too much gain?
That really depends on what you're going for. I've certainly had arguments with clients over this over the years. Even the last record I did with Vice, I thought the guitar player wanted too much, but hey, I can only fight that so hard. Personally, I say go to extremes. When you're miking stuff up, try a couple different things. Again, you need a reamp box really to flesh out all your ideas. So that's one thing I say right at the beginning. Get yourself a reamp box because it's going to help you get to where you want to go faster. So that's what I do. I show, here's what happens when you crank up the gain on a rhythm track. Here's what happens when you back it off. Here's a midpoint. This is what I'm looking for. Here's what happens when you crank up too much gain. It starts to kind of fall apart and gets a little fizzy and mushy. And if you crank it back too far, you're going to sound like you're doing a country record in fucking Nashville or something like that. And we're not going for that with metal, obviously. So the trick is to find a happy medium and basically use as much gain as you can get away with without overdoing it. And again, that just comes down to a process of elimination.
Yeah, it's one of those things like reamp boxes. I find it so important. I couldn't live without my reamp box.
Oh, okay, cool. Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like...
And it's always to hand.
Yeah, I've got this now. This is the Angry Reamp by Chad Kelly. This thing's amazing. I've had a radial for years and years and years. This is, after doing reamping for 15 years, is probably the best one I've ever come across. It's pretty damn incredible. If you're doing modern metal, get a reamp box.
Yes.
Just do it.
So here's one that's for everybody, including the bass players. Do fresh strings affect the tone a lot in terms of getting your guitar tone?
Probably more bass than guitar itself. I mean, like when you put a set of fresh strings on and you're listening acoustically, obviously they sound brighter. I'm not sure how much of that translates across the pickups though. I do change out a set of strings and they do sound a bit better. More importantly, they do affect the tuning stability. And that's super important. You want your guitar strings to stay in tune. And if you've got old dead strings, you know what? You're going to be spending more time tuning than you will be playing it. And that's one of the things we look at as well is, how often you should be tuning, that kind of stuff, and how precise you should be, especially when you start quad tracking rhythm guitars, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Because if you're
super precise,
even out slightly, you're basically creating a chorus pedal.
Yeah, but not a good chorus pedal.
No, not at all.
Okay, final question. Bonus round. This is the one for the win, Glenn. What's the difference between Total Heavy Guitar and the new course from Scott, the Guitar Tone Mastery?
Well, other than I'm way better looking, well, actually, I'm not in the video. I'm far fatter in this video. Like I said, I spent 2 years on this course. So, Guitar Tone Mastery is designed for the home desktop guy who's struggling to get great tones out of his amp sims. It's a brilliant course, but that's all digital, and so he's approaching things a little bit differently. Mine is for the guy who's got the home project studio that's using real amps and can't figure out why his guitars sound like ass. And it's like, well, use the 57 in front of a vintage 30. It doesn't sound good. And it's like, so what I do is I show you what to look for and how to develop your own mic techniques and that kind of thing. Take you through my whole process and show you what's up. So yeah, Scott's definitely more focused towards digital and plugins and that kind of thing. And that's a lot of people out there. Whereas I'm kind of like, riffing off of what we did on the Andy Sneap forum back in like 2005, 2006, where everybody was sitting down working with amps and tweaking and whatnot. And, I spent years and years and years doing it. And I just thought, hey, let's do a lesson on this. So it should be fun.
Hang on. Let me consult the judges. 1 second. Ding, ding, ding. That is the right answer. Thank you for playing, Glenn. You have won A course that is available to be sold through to everybody who's watching this video. Hey.
Jeez. Yes, and if you haven't checked out Adam's channel, please do. It's quite good. Hot Pole Studios, and he's got an amazing Reaper course available as well. Yeah, so that's it. I did a video on Total Heavy Guitar about a month and a half ago. A few people bought it, but I think it might have been priced a little bit out of reach. So we've dropped the price down to $97. It's going to be on sale for the remainder of the week, and then the price goes back up to $197. So if you want to get your hands on it, you're recording amps at home, and you're scratching your head going, why the fuck doesn't this sound right? This is definitely the course for you. So please check it out. Follow the link in the description below. Adam, thanks so much for being on the show, dude. And we'll see you guys. He's going to be back on the show coming up real soon. We're going to talk about some Reaper tricks. Anyway, take care. See ya.